My name is Kevin Hill. I am our um, director of training for CEO Warrior. I'm also one of our master advisors, and I'm joined by two of my other master advisors and the rest of our phenomenal team with Aaron. Jason, you want to give a quick introduction for yourself?
Yeah, hi. Jason Knoll, Director of Advisement, which is just a fancy word for I'm an advisor as well. Been in the industry for 26 years now, I guess. Been around for a minute, ran a few businesses and here in Indianapolis, and I'm happy to be here. So thanks for having me, Jack.
Popcorn Me. Hi, I'm Jackie Sponsler. I am the head of onboarding and a master advisor for CEO Warrior, and I have been in the trades industry and still presently own and operate a plumbing business. Um, well, I've been in the trades industries for 18-ish years, and been in an advisement role for at least the last decade, I think. But been through a couple of transitions and exits and hiring and transitioned through a couple busy seasons myself. So hopefully that gives me a little bit of a baseline to talk through some of the problems that we come into in July. But glad to be
Awesome.
here.
So, Paul, my name is Kevin. As I mentioned before, we have Jason, we have Aaron from our team. I'm actually on here twice, so don't worry about the other Kevin Hill on here. It's not my twin. Excited to have you on with us. I'm pretty familiar with HireDimensions, so super excited that you guys decided to join us here.
Yeah.
We have a number of attendees out in the attendee world there.
Okay.
The nice thing is we'll have an opportunity for them to ask some questions when you have them, if they when they raise their hand, like John is doing right now.
Okay.
Um, I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Paul. You have access. I believe that you have the ability, fantastic, to
Okay.
run your screen, and it's all yours, my friend.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I appreciate that. Well, I'm not sure who all is on, but I want to kind of introduce myself. Can you all see the screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Um, First of all, this is really about the science behind hiring and retention, because what's happening right now, I'll get right to it, is that the prediction is that the next 3 to 5 years, you probably feel the pain already, is in the contracting world that we're in, the blue collar world really, there'll be like 1.3 million open job positions that will go unfilled. And that basically equates to about 300,000 in our space, the HVAC related space. So it's going to be very, very difficult, which means that you can't keep doing what you're doing because things are changing dramatically. Not only the market and the talent that's out there, but also the job seeker themselves, and everybody's after the job seeker. So we want to focus on that and focus on how to deal with these changes right now. Um, you know, Now I've been doing this for 30 years, and my first job was with Linux Industries out of Richardson, Texas here. And they hired 8 consultants, and the consultants were given the job to help their 5,500 contractors run their business better. Well, every one of our consultants all had certain disciplines and core competencies that they brought to the table. Mine happened to be hiring and attraction and training and management communication, team building, and really, I did a lot of interventions in company where we looked at the differences between management perceptions and staff realities. And we tried to fill the void in between that with specific training. So we built better cultures. But what's happening now is because of the talent issues in this country right now that are going to get worse, we have to shift away from just recruiting and hiring good people. We got to look at how do we keep our best people right now? How do we build a culture that reflects our values and actually gives our people somewhere to hang their hat and feel good about? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. If you have any questions as I go through this, please let me know and I can address them. But what we want to do today and what this was all about was really first identify how do you identify and hire the right people the first time? Uh, that's always the challenge. And then why culture matters and why it's so important to have a culture that attracts people. If your culture's not good, the word gets out on the street, and people are not going to apply or will be hesitant to apply or will be cautious when they do apply. And as a consequence, you have a lot of people that don't turn up for interviews, they don't show up for jobs, and it's just been a nightmare. Uh, but we'll show you ways to cut turnover issues, grow performance, because this is what it's all about. It's about getting more out of less. Because trust me, uh, as I said, the market is going in a direction we don't really like it to go, but it's going to be tough to get talent out there. And then we're going to show you, how do you build a workplace where employees can actually enjoy it, build equity in themselves, and grow with you, where there's accountability and commitment and all that. And those are all things that we want, but we just never, no one's ever showed anybody how to get them, how to create that. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I've worked on it for a long time. And that's our next fact that matter at hand. Um, the first thing I want to talk about, though, is cause and effect with everything that goes on in your organization. Whether you're hiring, whether you're managing, whatever it is. The first thing is, what's the problem? We have to identify the problem. And the problem is typically going to be things like, well, I've got turnover issues, or I've got growth pains. I can't hire enough people to help me meet my needs, or discipline issues. I've got people that are coming to work late, leaving early, or they're not doing the job they want to do. Or it could be things like, you know what, we're just average. We're not doing what we need to do. I know our people could do better. I just don't know how to get them to do better. And it's not like we have bad people. I just can't get them to step up to the plate. So once you identify the problem, you got to look at the cause. Okay, well, what's happening here? Well, our profits are down, the morale's low, there might be no security. People don't feel secure in an organization, or maybe I got the wrong people doing the wrong things in the organization. Maybe they're not problem solving the way I'd like them to. There could be commitment issues. A lot of things can happen, but we got to identify the cause of the problem. And then we got to realize, okay, well, what's our objective here? How are we going to solve this? So what's the objective? Well, I got to get a better team. My team has got to step up to the plate, or I got to look at top talent, or I need higher profits. My profit margin is lower than I needed, or I need better performance across the whole team. How do I do that? I need better accountability. Fact is, you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. And if you look at this from the perspective of the human resource, the assets of your company, I don't care if you've got 10 people or you have 100 people, the fact of the matter is any problem you have is going to boil down to people. People are the issue, but people also are the greatest assets. I'm going to show you how to maximize those in just a minute. So now, I always said that the limits of any organization is the limits of the personal best of everyone involved. So if you think about that for a minute, again, you could have 5 people in your organization. You might have 20, you might have 50, it doesn't matter. But we have to look at this from the perspective of, we want the best team we can possibly get, and we want our people to do the best they can. We want to give them equity and a sense of contribution. So first thing is, we got to screen with purpose. If you're out in the market now and you're hiring techs or installers, CSRs, salespeople, you got to think about, okay, I don't want to hire just to fill a seat. I've got to hire with an intention involved. I have to have purpose. And so what is that purpose? Well, the purpose is I got to meet the needs of the people that I hire. Uh, Culture and leadership matter. One of the things we do with every customer when we talk to them is, tell us what your culture is. And we give them an opportunity to tell us, because we've got basically there's 5 cultures that I've evaluated over the last many years I've been in this business. And there's 5 leadership styles that go along with them. And if we don't know what those are, we can't effectively go out to the market and help you get the right people that fit into that culture, that fit into that leadership. And those are 2 critical aspects of building equity in your company, reducing turnover, growing performance, building assets that matter. Because if you got people, it's like putting a square peg in a round hole. It's not going to fit. And if it does fit, it's forced to fit. And so we look at those things. And so we always start out in our process of working with a client is we give them 5 choices of culture, 5 choices of leadership. We say, okay, that's our starting point. Now, once we do that, we have an idea of how you run your company. And that's important. It's important to the job seeker. It's important to you as an owner. You want the right people fitting into the organization. So look, HVAC right now, plumbing, electrical, all that, they're all talent constrained. There's not going to be a lot of talent. So our focus is, well, we have to reduce risk because right now, you've got a lot of people that say, look, we're going to scale your business. We've got all these great programs. We're going to scale your business. Well, let me tell you, I don't care what you do on the front side. I don't care what kind of scaling you want to do. Your job right now needs to be risk reduction, needs to be, look, we need to, we have issues, we've got maybe increased turnover, we've got lost productivity, we've got callbacks we don't want, we got really high recruiting costs, we're not getting the right people we want, the turnover in 90 days, we're hiring people that are not producers, and they're actually time absorbers. And here's the biggest thing with this. When you focus on risk reduction, you're talking about hiring A and B players. That's what you want. If you've got C players, if you've got even D players, you're going to have these issues continually. But there's a way to address it. So, our next step is, we're saying, look, we're going to help you in a lot of areas. One is not only matching culture and leadership alignment to the job seeker, but then we want to make sure if they match, they have certain skill sets that go along with it. Maybe mechanical aptitude, if you're hiring apprentices, for example, you're going to invest time, money, and dollars in those apprentices. Well, you want to make sure that they have mechanical aptitude, they have basically some work values and some cognitive reasoning, and they're going to stay with you for a while. So testing is very inexpensive, but it helps you isolate key areas of involvement like you want with this new job seeker. So, and these are tricks of the trade. And I don't know how many people might do testing and assessments, but just doing those in themselves creates a screening process. Those players that don't, well, I don't want to do, I'm not going to take any assessment. Well, then they're probably not going to do a lot of other things too. But the key to these assessments, by the way, is, they got to be short, they've got to be highly validated, and they have to have a usefulness. They have to have a way to apply what you learn from a candidate. So all those things are critical. So right now, we interview any owner, any client first. We understand their culture. We understand the values that they need and that they want. We look at leadership. We write the jobs accordingly. And then we get into opportunities to look at the job seeker in a different perspective. Now, it's all about being competitive in the market because there's a lot of dogs after the bones out there right now. And every one of them will do exactly what you do. The difference is, time, money, and resources is so important right now. And so we say, well, let's automate this whole function. Let's look at automating delivery of jobs out to a market where there's 17 or 18 or 20 job boards that are key to the industry. Indeed is the largest, obviously, but Indeed is a large aggregator. So you want to go to other job boards too. Those jobs are aggregated, and if you're positioned right, you get the attention that you deserve. You want a mobile-friendly application. If a tech is out in a truck in front of a house and doesn't like what he sees, doesn't like what he's experienced, trust me, they'll be on that job board and they'll be looking somewhere. Sorry about that. Resume parsing, pre-screen questions. One of the things that you're going to have to do to get the right person in the first place is, we always address it with adding job questions to a job post, for example. So we write the job based on what you tell us, culture, leadership, but we also put in there risk questions so we can help identify risk. For example, if someone comes into the portal, they've applied to your job, they like what they read, it appeals to them. uh, but they've had 5 jobs, that's a risk factor. And you may say, well, geez, they can fill the truck, that's okay. But the problem is that one person that doesn't fit your culture and leadership that might be able to do the job can create all kinds of havoc and cost you a lot of money if they're gone in 90 days. And you've got proprietary information leaving the door, and you don't want things like that to happen. So we have risk questions, and we have questions that identify your culture and your leadership. So we're screening all the way into the portal for you, and we can use behavioral assessments. We can automate the interview process where we can actually provide a recorded interview that again deals with who you are, not what you want, but how they fit. And so you get to see a video interview of them before you even talk to them. And then mostly, and most importantly, is that we do something no one else has done in this industry that I've ever seen, and I've been in it a long time, is I decided to do something different. And I said, look, we're going to create what I call JAM, which I created as a job audit matrix. And we take all the information we get from a resume, from an interview, from the risk questions, from any assessments we use, and we put them in a scorecard that looks similar to this. And so you have this in front of you before you ever interview somebody. And so what this does, again, we're going back to eliminating risk before you hire. Know who you hire. Let us put together a program that aligns with your culture and leadership. So when you have someone come in and you look at the portal and you see Joe, Sue, or whoever it might be, and you look at the scorecard, you now have a visual representation of who this person is and why you might need to hire them. And we can go one step farther, and we can even add interview questions that you should ask before they get to that next step. So we're trying to automate the whole function, and we're trying to look at the quality of people, not quantity, but quality. So you build a team that lasts over time. Because I can tell you right now in this market, I've looked at it for a long time. I've looked at companies with 10, I've looked at companies 20, 100. But here's what typically aligns itself in a company. And this is what I want you to be aware of and why retention is becoming more important. If you look at a typical company, you can say, well, you got 50.9% on the bell curve on the bottom, you got 50.9% on the bell curve on the top. The lower margin, basically, they're easy to identify because, and I know you can look at them in your company and say, well, those are my disciplinary targets. They're late to work. They might be early to leave. They got room to improve. We want to improve them, but those are your D players. And those D players are the ones you turn over a lot. And then you can look at the 50.9% on the top. These are the skilled guys. These are the ones that hit home runs. They're easy to motivate and they're easy to identify. They are your A players. They're your all-stars. But here's the problem that I've seen happen over and over again. In the middle, which is the general milieu of your organization, you have the 68 to almost 70% of your people are there. And they come to work on time, they leave on time, they don't contribute negatively, but they don't contribute positively. They're kind of just there. And they're in a comfort zone. And by definition, they're mediocre. They're there and they're in your company and they're running your company. They're doing things they need to do. But here's the problem, because when the price of poker is going up and you've got these top people, I've had top techs leave companies. They leave, they go away. They're not getting what they need. What happens is, where do you fill them from? That's the challenge. Where do they go? And then how do you fill that void? Well, what typically happens is you take these people that are by definition mediocre. They're not bad, they're not great, but they're there. They've been there the longest, and by definition, they get promoted into that role. And they don't have the skill sets. They never learned them. They're not learning them. They don't teach them in college. They don't teach them in vocational school. They're just there, and they're doing what they know how to do. And so with the price of poker is going up, mediocrity becomes the kiss of death because you can no longer operate like that. So here's the challenge is, what do I do next? Okay, so maybe that's true, maybe it's not. You might run a great company, but I'm telling you, a lot of companies, larger companies, are dealing with this struggle. They're going to struggle with it more if they don't deal with what's important right here. Then very next stage is, look, people stay for a reason. Uh, and there is a formula for retention, but it's going to take a commitment from an owner, from managers, and really the whole team. But here's the 5 things that people absolutely need if you're going to address the psychology of a market right now where things are changing pretty quickly. Job seekers have different currencies. I can tell you what the currencies are because they're sitting here right in front. Number one, I have to have a sense of security. If I'm going to work for you, you tell me how you're going to provide support for me in a lot of different ways. Maybe I have family, I've got kids, mothers, whoever it is. I have to have a sense of belonging. Am I part of what we're doing here in the company? And then acceptance. Do you accept me for who I am and what I'm contributing? And give them a sense of contribution and validation. These are core psychological needs that if they're not met, uh, you're not going to have people for the long haul. They'll come in, they'll realize the culture, they go, okay, well, I'm not really part of this, or I don't feel like I'm a contributor, or I'm not getting a sense of validation with what I do. So these are things that absolutely create a really good culture. And the next thing is, and I've talked to a lot of companies that have great cultures, and they do it by design. A lot of companies start to grow and they're getting good people and they're doing well, but the culture is defined by default. It's just kind of happening. And some of them eventually hit a ceiling, but all of these cultural values, things like accountability, continuous coaching, giving people equity, building their confidence, behavioral standards that are implemented within the company. Um, all of these are important to the best culture that I've talked to. And there's a way to get these as well. Uh, Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because we don't rise to the level of our intentions. Everybody wants to do well. We have good intentions to do well. There's no doubt about that. But we rise to the level of our habits. Like if you looked at your CSRs, if you looked at your salespeople, if you looked at your technicians, if you have to look at habits, because if you're not getting what you want, a good friend of mine, Dr. Phil, if you want better results, you have to change your thinking and change your behavior and hold the standard every day. Results will never outgrow your habits. So you got to look at habits, and habits come to behaviors, and behaviors have to do with training. You got to get people to understand that what they're doing may not be getting the results they want. And they may have great intentions. So we got to help them identify what they need to do to rise and get to another level. So, um, so how do we do that? So we got to build a culture by design. Not only do we have to hire really good people, and we have to hire to our culture and hire to our leadership, but we have to hire with intentions and purpose. And so how do we do that? Well, I just told you the first thing we do is we gotta get your people to be involved. They have to have a sense of contribution. So one of the tricks of the trade, which I think can make a big difference in any contractor right now in this business, is you got to get your people to be involved and be contributors. And so how do we do that? Well, one thing we did, which I think can make a big difference in any company, is we say, okay, we're going to build a culture by design. We're going to create things in our culture. And by the way, culture is just what people experience every single day. They're in there. That's all it is. But what they experience can be very impactful, right? So we want them to be contributors. So what we do is we say, okay, we want everybody to tell us what is important to them. So we have a list of 20, what I call working values. These are things that are important in the workplace. And we have people go through an assessment. It's basically 20 questions. It's not even an assessment, it's anonymous, but we're saying, tell us what you think is important in a company that you work for. Let us know. So we get a collective input and snapshot from everybody in the organization. And why is that important? It's important because you want to know what they value as an employee in your company. And so what we do is we basically will weight that result. We take the 5 most important cultures, values that they have, and we create a tagline and a cultural credo. And everyone recognizes that. And we get their collective agreement on it. And so what you've just done is you brought everybody into how you're going to run your company and what's important to them. But that's only half a step because now you've got the agreement and people say, here's what I value. But then you've got to, as a leader, as an owner of a company, show them that you're doing this with them, not to them, and you're going to make changes so you can build their equity and build them a house that they're going to really like living in. So we're going to teach them the credos. And so what we do is uh, we say, okay, we're going to teach you how to become a star leader, star employee. And we have online micro training, which basically says, look, this is your culture, but here's how we're going to live in your culture. So these are cornerstones that we put up. These cornerstones basically protect what they create. And the first one is very simple: manage people in a way that protects or builds up someone's self-esteem. And that sounds real easy to do, but it's not easy to do. Not when you're in the heat of battle every single day and you got irate customers calling and you've got managers that are going off the boot and you've got employees that are frustrated. So we're going to teach you how to deal with this. And these are, again, simple cornerstones that fit into a culture. One is be objective in every action and every decision. And the problem with that is a lot of managers don't do that. A lot of owners don't do that. And not by design, just by default. I'm not, I'm maybe playing favorites. And so people see that. And there is no reality, only perception in a company. So when they see that, that's their reality. So, and we're trying to make people aware of these things. So delegate every task that does not uniquely require your importance to it. Well, a lot of people, they get heavy-handed on this whole idea of I got to control things because I'm the only one that knows how to do it. Well, you're not letting your employees be contributors. You're not giving them a sense of acceptance and ownership on what you're doing. And when you mother hen everything, people tend to back off. And again, that's where you have conflict. That's where you have issues. That's where things drop through the cracks. Another one is focus on productivity, not activity. And this is where a lot of companies go wrong. I mean, you talk about people wanting to scale your business and they have all these things you got to do. Well, people get real active on that and it can look like busy work. But the fact is, if it's not moving the ball forward, that's not productivity. That's just activity. And so you have to really understand the difference between the two. And again, that's a cornerstone that we put inside a culture that says, look, whatever we do today, are we moving the ball forward? I mean, you got to ask the question. You got to create the accountability and the ownership. And then last but not least is lead by inspiration, but most assuredly lead. Um, People tend to forget the fact that, we do make mistakes. Take ownership in it. Show people that, you know what, you're human, but we're going to do this together. And so these cornerstones, basically, every one of them, can help retain a culture and create a culture by design. And then once we do all of this and we put this into practice, then we have training to go along with it. I've got 10 corporate life laws that are there whether you like them or not. And they're almost like the laws of physics. If you step off a building, you pay the price and you pay it pretty quick. Well, these life laws, the corporate life laws, are no different. You may do some of them, but some you probably violate. I violate, and if you violate them, somewhere along the line, you pay the price. And what we want to do is make people aware of every action, there's a reaction, right? And so we incorporate these life laws. These are life skills, corporate skills that can help them navigate a corporate environment, be more productive, be more accountable, and really create a performance-driven culture. So those are things that we call it the culture code. We have career code and we have goals acquisition code. All of these micro learning courses are designed to help you on the back end of the attraction and hiring of the best people. And they can be used with your current team to actually build them up as well. So you're not dealing with a a part of your company that where there's a gap and something's not happening, and where we're gonna fill that gap with skill sets. So, but in a nutshell, that's what we do right now. So we're not just screening and hiring. We do it with purpose, and we do it by identifying what's important to you guys, and then helping you create a culture by design where people know, okay, we have a symbol system here. When a play is called, we know where to go, what to do, and how to do it. That's basically what we're doing. And it doesn't take a lot of your time to do this, because we've got ways that allow anybody in the organization to do this, not on work time. They can do this after work time, but it allows them to understand and think about how they do what they do and why they do what they do, so they can do it better. So, uh, any questions at all in terms of how we can help you guys? I've been doing this a while, and I have a lot to offer, but I want to be able to make sure that I'm hitting the points that are important to anybody listening, whether it's you're trying to hire better people, you're trying to navigate a difficult market right now, which is getting more difficult in terms of talent, maybe how to identify better talent, how to create better teamwork, team communication, all those things I've done for years. My focus is behavior. So I don't do psychological stuff. I don't do system, structure, form. My focus is identifying problems and then finding solutions that fit into them from a people perspective. So that's what I do. And if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to take questions now if you have any.
Oh, I'm going to ask questions, Kevin, again.
Sure.
So you hear quite a bit from time to time. Two things I hear from our members and people that we're talking to. One is there's just no good people out there. And I understand that good candidates are hard to find, but what are your thoughts when you hear really good companies that have good culture make that comment? There's just no good companies out there. No, I'm sorry, no good employees out there because they all work for someone else. And now no HVAC person is going to leave because they're all busy right now. What do you kind of say to all that?
Well, right now in the middle of August, head down, tail up, everybody's working, right? Everybody's working. And when anybody, whether it's now or later, early, it doesn't matter when it is. I've heard that a lot, where there's there's nobody good out there. I can't find anybody good. And I'll be really frank with everybody listening, is that, I told you, I'm a big on culture. I've been into and out of a lot of companies. I've done interventions with companies, and I can tell you the companies that weather the storm and have good people and hire good people and attract good people, they have a way of building a culture, again, that makes people feel comfortable and they feel part of, and going back to those sense of security, contribution, belonging. Those things are all there, and those are intangible. That's the hard part, is they're intangible. How do I get people to feel like they're a contributor? Well, it's really not that hard. And I hear what you're saying, and I will absolutely agree 100%. It's hard to find good talent. They're there, they're in this market. These techs and installers, they're all on the job boards all the time, and they're always looking. But I promise you, there's always looking. If they're not happy, they're on the job boards. Your job now is not to worry about whether they're good or not. It's to find the better people, and part of that is going back to what we're talking about, is we have to identify what is you offer. When you go out to these job boards, you've got to present a job ad that people relate to and say, God, that sounds like me. What they're saying sounds like me. And if you don't have a good, and also the other half of that is that job's got to be seen. I see people post a lot of jobs and it goes into Never Land. If you go to Indeed, it's nothing but a big, huge, gigantic search board. That's all it is. It's like doing a search. And so you have to have the right words, the key words, in it, and then you have to play the game. And it's unfortunate, but Indeed has taken over. So what they do now, and I'm sure some of you have experienced this, is they say, well, what's your daily budget? What's your daily budget? And we'll give you leads, no problem. We guarantee leads. What's your, well, my daily budget's $50. And so what happens is companies will put out a job ad. The job ad is written poorly. It doesn't address the needs of the job seeker. It doesn't address the needs of the currency. And so that job goes out and it's just another job. It's just another job. But I'm going to click on it because basically I'm a fast food order cook and I want a new job. So they click on it and they just paid $5.75 for someone that's absolutely not even close to being qualified. And so they get frustrated. And so then they think there's nobody out there. There's no good talent out there. Uh, but there's, again, that goes to writing the job the right way. But look, there's other ways. One of the best ways to find people right now is referral. It's just bottom line, and it doesn't impact me, but referral is so important. If you can get your people to talk about why they work for you and get them to talk to other people, those are going to be your best hires by far and away. People that your employees refer to you. And maybe they don't have all the skill sets. No one says they have to. I'd rather have a good quality person fitting into my culture long term, where they're leaning forward on learning and building their own equity and building a career than someone that thinks they know everything and that just is toxic to my culture. So, yeah, long answer to a simple question, or actually it's a difficult question because I hear it all the time. I just say you got to really do things that you didn't do before right now in this market because it is tough. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, thank
So,
you. I love that answer. I think that's a really good answer. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, sure.
so Paul, we have a question from the group.
Yeah.
How do you it's Aji. How do you handle people that apply that are in the game for 15 years plus asking for top dollar or higher? They're overqualified, usually in the older crowd.
Yeah, so part of our risk questions are have to do with that. One of the questions that we ask is, let's see, where is it? I can find it. This is a really good telling question. Yeah, here it is. So one of the questions that we ask to eliminate this problem, and look, I can't make decisions for people if they want to hire someone that's been in the business 15 years and they think they want a lot of money. Here's a way to nip that in the bud before it even happens, because we weight all the answers to these questions. So compared to my salary expectations, my actual salary earned has generally been what? And they've got a selection. It's been very high, it's been high, it's been about the same, low, or very low. They get to choose. Well, if they're saying, well, my salary expectations are much greater than who I think I really am. So they've been very low. Or if they've been very high, that's also a red flag. So what we're trying to identify is, and again, I'm all for the decisions of an owner in terms of how they want to go about their hiring process. I will help them however they want to. But these are questions that are important because if I think that my value is greater than it really is, do you really want to hire them in the first place? Because all you're going to get is headache and heartache, and they're going to probably leave because they're looking for the next bigger dollar. So, to me, it's not rocket science. It's very strategic and tactical how you go to the market. You have a lot to offer, and I think people with the right mindset understand that. And if you go through the right filtering process and the right questions, and you learn to understand them, then you've got a good employee, and they'll grow with you. I mean, that's what I see in this market right now.
And I'll add in. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say I'll kind of piggyback off of that a little bit too. If we decide we do want to hire this person, I think there's creative ways to get them to the amount of money they want to make. It just has to be performance related, right? So
Absolutely.
whether it's hourly plus a bonus structure, something like that. If they're as good as what they say they are, then they'll have no problem being paid on their performance.
That's right. I agree with that avenue as well. Always, there's always ways to do that, and everybody has their own hiring strategies. Um, but again, going back to, questions and risk, the risk questions, if you ask them, do you tend to criticize poor work? If they say always, or if they say never, that's a problem as well, because if they always criticize problems, then they become a bottleneck in an organization. If they're always criticizing someone's work, oh, I can do this better, or I would never do it this way. So again, we're trying to help the owner identify behaviors that matter in the organization. If they never criticize poor work, well, then they don't care. My position is they don't even care. It's whatever. I'm just here for a job. I'm here for a paycheck. So it's a balancing act, and we're just trying from a people perspective, a human perspective, is to sift through some of the maze that everybody brings to a job table and say, look, why do you want to work for us? What do you bring to the table? We can help you through that process, because I think we all agree it's not easy right now, and it can get very complicated. And if you do the right things, if you have the right tactics, you have the right culture, a culture that attracts people, people, your employees talk at supply houses, they talk at the water fountain, they talk. But if they're talking good and saying, yeah, I like what they're doing, they're providing me a good living, I'm learning a lot, then you know what? That goes back to the referrals that we talk about, the best way to hire. People want to be part of that. So, uh, that's the psychology behind this market right now. There's just different currencies altogether, and it's not always a dollar. It can be, but you got to be aware. And like you said, there are ways to identify how motivated they are to stand behind what they think they're worth. If you put together a pay scale that represents performance-driven work, okay, I'm all in. Let's go. Um, but a lot of times you'll find out that may not be the case. So, and you guys know,
So,
yeah.
oh, I was going to say, so based on the risk questions, the one you specifically just talked about, like, what kind of answer would we be looking for as business owners to that question, right? Because if I don't care about issues, or I do care about issues, that's a problem. So, what kind of answer would we be looking for?
Yeah, well, the other choices are often, occasionally, or seldom,
Okay.
and then never. So again, this is just a simple score, but if you wanted to take this one step further, I'm a big believer now that we're on this whole idea of interviewing and identifying the key behaviors. Here's the thing. Here's the bottom line to interviewing. Uh, Past behavior in a related situation is a good predictor of future behavior in the same type of situation. So if you're dealing with techs, dealing with CSRs, dealing with salespeople, you better be asking behavioral based questions, because if you really want to know if someone can perform in the position you have for them, if you don't know that they've done that job before and done it well, then you're taking a risk. Behavioral interviewing can actually uptick your success rate by an incredible amount, a huge margin. People ask behavioral based, or excuse me, opinion based questions like, well, why do you want to work here? Or, what's important to you in a culture? And those all are opinion based questions. But when you
Hmm.
start talking about asking them questions in face to face and watching body language and talking about, well, tell me about a time where you had a very difficult conversation with an in-home client, um, and maybe they insulted your work. What did you do? What was the outcome? When did it happen? And what you're really looking for in situations like that, and those are difficult interview questions, no doubt about it. And a lot of people can't do them, but I think they're the heart of how you need to hire successfully. Um, and so they'll say something like, "Oh, well, it happens all the time. That's the home service business." And I just basically go about it and install what I'm doing, and thank the client and move on. And that's not an answer. That's not an answer to the question. Uh, because you hire them and things blow up, and then you have a problem on your hands. But no, I agree with you. I mean, I think behavioral based questions can help support all these things we talk about. They can support the culture, the leadership, all of that. They can support the technical aspect of what a technician does in a home. I always heard contractors. I said, well, what do you ask in your job seekers on your ad? Well, I ask them how much experience they have in the industry. And of course, that's the wrong question because everybody will tell you they have industry in experience in the industry. It's just the wrong
Mhm.
question. So, I said, well, let's just nail this down a little bit better. Let's talk about if you're hiring a tech that goes in homes and deals with your customers, they are your company. So let's make sure that they understand that. And so it's it's really asking them the right question. How many in-home service calls do you make a week? It's real simple. If they don't make
Mhm.
any, well, okay, maybe they've never done this before. They act like they have done it. They're a technician. They should be doing it, but they're not. So we want to make sure that we're just asking questions that are relative to the position. And as I said, past behavior is a really good predictor of future behavior. And if they're unemployed, there may be a reason for that. It may not be, but there could be. And it's not that I give anybody the benefit of the doubt. I think you got to ask the right questions and then move forward
Mhm.
with it, so you don't get bamboozled on somebody. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of ways to do that. But I agree. Yeah, I think you can create performance-based pay if that's what they need, if that's what they want, if that's what they're motivated by, then okay, that's okay. That's a good thing.
So I don't see any other questions, so I'm going to ask another one.
Okay.
So first and foremost, I appreciate you talking about retention and culture,
Yeah.
and not just hiring
Yeah.
because we find that very, very important as well, right? Sometimes we don't have a hiring problem, we have a retention problem.
Yeah.
And we've all made bad hires. I've found in my career very hard to hire right. Right. So like that was hire, I always hear hire the right people. Well, I found that to be very, very tough. So we've all
Yeah.
made bad hires. If you're on here and you say you've never made a bad hire, either one, you're a liar, or two, you've never hired
Yeah.
anybody, right? Because we've
Yeah.
all made those. So my question is this: once I've made a bad hire, what are the things I should look for to quickly identify if they're a bad fit or if they're a good fit, right? So what are kind of some red flags that say, yeah, I made a bad hire here. I need to bite the bullet and take care of it. So like kind of give me some indicators there, if you can, of things to look for once we've made a hire and we're not sure if they're a good fit now or not.
Yeah. Well, I think anybody listening could answer their own question, their own answer to that question. And depending on the position, I'm sure there's a lot of red flags. Uh, Again, I'm not into the system structure and form, but obviously companies are trying to scale right now. They're adding new products and programs. People, they don't absorb very well. They don't learn very well. They might be hard-headed about it. Like, why do I need to learn this? So, uh, those red flags come up in time when you're getting people acclimated. Here's the thing about onboarding a new employee to make sure that you put them in the right direction. Uh, I've got something that I think is an excellent onboarding program that gives people, any new employee, more than just here's how we run our company, here's our benefits, here's all the. We want them to walk into our company saying, oh, wait a minute, they're giving me a blueprint for success already, and I haven't even started my first day. And I get to do this online training, which tells me what success is all about. And I'm learning from the number one social scientist and psychologist, behavioral psychologist in the country. And they're giving me this opportunity to succeed in a role that I wasn't quite sure I needed to be in the first place, but they hired me anyway. But now I'm going to be leaping in feet first because I like what I'm doing. That's our career code. That's what sets people off in a direction that you want them, because you're saying, okay, we studied the key 10 elements of success, and we want to show you what they are. Um, and that's what career code is. And so what I'm talking about for you is You're talking about culture, and I know you and I are on the same wavelength there in terms of this industry right now, because people have to create for for their employees uh, uh, a place where they feel, like I said, contributors, and they feel they're built equity in it, and they're learning, an ongoing learning organization. But the information that I'm referring to, I put it together in a way that makes sense, because this industry, if you say, well, we're going to do training, people go, well, I don't want to do training. It takes so much time, there's so much involved, and this is ridiculous. I don't have time to do this, and it's going to cost me a lot of money. I said, okay, I get that, and I understand it. Believe me, I've done corporate training, and I get it. So, and it does take a lot. But in our business, where we're at, uh, people are head down, tail up working, especially now. And training is almost like, well, I wish I could, but I can't. I don't have time. This is micro training, and micro training is where I can go in and learn something right now, apply it, and we have it's actually a cognitive behavioral training. So it works over time, and it allows people to go in after work before they make their first call in the morning. I can learn something about success. Dr. Phil himself is telling me what this is, why is this important. So everything I have is the content. It's content rich, uh, and it deals with behaviors, and quite frankly, I have Dr. Phil's collaboration on a lot of this material, from the culture code to the career code, the goals acquisition code. Uh, and I put together where people can walk away with something right now, not later, or what do we do next, or okay, that sounds great, but now what? No, they know what, because we're going to show them how to do what they need to do. And it's also very geared towards this industry. So there are elements in it which they'll be able to relate to, whether they're a CSR or a tech. So, but that's what I'm referring to, and that's the question you asked me about, what if we decided we hired someone wrong? Well, let's start them off on the right path so it doesn't take a left turn once they get in the organization after 90 days, where you've hooked them into your culture and your design, and they start to go, God, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And they start to change their behaviors and fit into the organization. And ultimately, that's what you want. So there's never a bad hire. It's just that it's a bad culture fit. It's a bad leadership fit. I think everybody has the ability to learn and to grow into a culture. You just have to give them a roadmap. If they don't have a roadmap, they don't know. So that's kind of what we've done with this training to support hiring, is provide them that roadmap.
Awesome. I don't know, Paul. I think I've made some bad hires. So
Well, I think we
none.
all have. No, we all have. Hey, we've all made bad hires. I've made bad hires, even so. I'm just trying to figure out. Okay, there is a there is a roadmap. There's a tactic, and I hope everybody can use it. It
Awesome.
definitely will reduce the problems.
All right. So do you guys want to put, Paul, John, do you guys want to put your contact information in the chat for everyone?
Sure.
I'll let them do that. If you guys want to know more about HireDimensions, they're going to put their contact information in there. If you want to learn more about CEO Warrior, I put our website address in there. Feel free to go on there, schedule a consultation. It's free. You can talk to one of our really, really amazing growth advisors and learn more about CEO Warrior as well. So we'll give it a few minutes here for them to put that in there, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, can you do me a favor and just put in my actual email address, and
I
someone can
absolutely
reach out to
can.
me? I appreciate it, guys. And look, as you know, so a little bit, let me use this time for a quick plug. So CEO Warrior, we are able to take a look at your organization, see where you are operationally sound, financially sound, if there's any gaps, operations, leadership, financial awareness, if there's any gaps in your process, meaning efficiency, conversion rates, average tickets. One of our advisors, me, Jackie Jason, or some other people on our team, marketing, we're able to take a look at these things and 100% find efficiencies, deficiencies, and most importantly, the game plan to turn it around. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about CEO Warrior, feel free to drop me a message. As director of training, I'm also the director of sales for our organization. I have a really good team of people that can talk to you about what we offer, how we offer it, the various levels of membership that we can offer you. So please go ahead and feel free to reach out to me. Have a great conversation. No obligation. Just learn some great information from us.
Awesome. Thanks, Kev. Thanks, Paul. Thanks, John. Bunch of contact information in the chat. If you're watching this on the recording later, feel free to reach out as well. Greatly appreciate you guys' time. Today was fantastic. So
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everything.
Have a great day.
you
Thank
bet.
you.
Thank you guys. Thanks
Thank you.
everybody for joining.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.